you, then drop them drawers. I know what you want. I ask myself, is this shit real? I contemplate about how I feel.
Hey guys, I've decided to video record me while recording this podcast. So this will also be up on YouTube if you wanted to watch this. And I'm holding my microphone at the moment because my stand literally broke on me. So I am going to buy a new microphone, I think. I've just decided. There's a really good brand called Shure. Shure. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but I've done a lot of research and it looks like the bomb diggity, so I'm just going to get a new microphone. I'm that type of person. It's like, no, don't get it fixed. Don't buy a new stand. Buy a whole new microphone. So, yeah, that's just me in a nutshell. So, yes, I've got the camera up, set up and ready. So, I'm doing something different, which is, going to see how it goes, see if it's a hit or a miss. And I'm holding the microphone like a retard, and I also sound like a retard because I'm still getting over this freaking flu that I've had for over a week now. So if I sound a bit nasally or I sound a bit shit, then I apologize, and hopefully I'll be better soon. So this episode, it's been a while since I've done a podcast, and I wanted to kind of come on here sounding a bit better than I am, but I was like, I'm just going to come on here and we're just going to make it work. But this topic I really wanted to talk about, mainly focus around, are you happy with where you are at? Or are you happy in general? And I think that's something that you need to ask yourself. I always ask myself if I'm happy. And if I'm not happy, then where am I unhappy and where can I improve in areas of my life? So I think it's just about giving yourself the opportunity to really just ask yourself, are you happy with where you are at and what you are doing? And I think a lot of the times it's going to be no. And it's okay if it's a no, because it's a stepping stone for something better in your life, for improving and working towards goals, or just starting a new chapter. But we can't do that if we don't recognize if we're happy or unhappy. So I wrote some notes down about this topic because there were some things that were jumping out in my mind, and the topic around being happy is asking yourself what you're doing. Is it fulfilling your soul? Is it lighting you up? Is it making you happy? And I know this can be easier said than done, to just be like, well, I'm unhappy with my job, I'm just going to quit. But it's more about recognizing that you are unhappy with what you're doing, and also acknowledging that there is a opportunity that is available. There is so many doors that can of opportunity and potential experiences, things that you can really go forth. You don't have to just be stuck feeling unhappy for the rest of your life. Take it from someone who was so unhappy in their 9-to-5 job in real estate, working on the lowest pay ever, working with a boss that really didn't give a shit about me. And until I made that decision that I wanted better for myself was when I started opening doors to new opportunities. The moment you make that decision, you recognize and make that decision that I deserve more, that I want more in life, you'll be surprised by the opportunities that start to open up once you allow that, once you open your perception to new opportunities. And that's just like the very start of like something so fucking awesome. If you allow yourself to open up your awareness to a possibility that there is so much more out there in life that you can be doing and that you can do it. So Ask yourself, are you unhappy or are you happy? Are you fulfilled? Are you doing what lights your soul? Are you happy with your relationships, with your health? Like, there's so many things that you can really ask yourself. And if there's something that you're not happy with, then where can you change that? Or where can you steer in a different direction and work towards something that's going to be better for you in that area? And like I said, once you open that opportunity, once you open your awareness to that, there will be like so many opportunities that come in. And an example of me is when I quit my job, and I did like kind of like an irrational decision of just like, I'm going to quit, and I had no backup plan. But at that point, I was like, well, I know I wanted to start my own business. So it kind of, I made that decision that I was no longer happy with, I was no longer accepting that I am going to continue being unhappy in this job. And that's when I made that decision and I opened opportunities to other things, which was my business. And then I quit. And then I was able to do other things with my business. Like I said, you don't have to quit, but if you look at the opportunities, or if you allow yourself to be like, okay, well, I'm not happy with my job and it's really unfulfilling, I'm going to explore options that make me happy, that light my soul, that make it more fulfilling for me to want to do. And we're not always going to have the answers straight away, but when you literally just like open that door, it's like opening a door, but like very slightly, like tiny, tiny, tiny. And then the more you explore that, the more you're opening that door wider and wider. So I hope that makes sense. Like, it just literally, give yourself the time of day, give yourself the opportunity to really like see that you have so much more potential than what you're giving yourself, what you're allowing yourself to have. Like, you in this position that may be really shit, you may be in a toxic relationship or a shitty job or a crap or really bad health or whatever your situation is at the moment. Nothing's permanent, remember? So if you just like open your awareness just that little bit and just be like, okay, well, maybe I do deserve more, then you're like asking the questions and opening that little door just a little bit to new opportunities. And that's all it takes for someone to create a drastic change down the line, is just with that starting point of opening that door just that little bit. And it all comes down to just asking yourself, are you happy? Are you unhappy? And acknowledging that. And in life, it's really about having such a fulfilled, enjoyed, like prosperity type of life. Like, that life is available to every single one of us, but we just don't think, for the most part, we don't think it's possible in any shape or form, because we look at our current reality and we think that there's no way that I'm ever going to be able to get out of this situation that I'm in. And that's just not true. It's something that you need to stop looking outside and start looking internally. And that's where your beliefs and your where your beliefs, your feelings, your emotions, and your actions come from, is that real deep internal belief of what you feel like you're worthy of. And so I always ask my clients, I'm always like, do you want to constantly be chasing things in life? Or do you want life to chase you? Which one would you prefer? There is a life, there is a reality where life can literally chase you. And what I mean is that you are so in alignment, you are so abundant and in alignment with who you are, deep down with who you are, as a soul, because we all have a soul, right? It's a soul level thing. It's not a human thing. So it's going a little bit into spirituality, but it's like you being so fulfilled and you being so abundant and so in alignment with who you are that things and opportunities and life just moves the way that you move. So things just naturally attract to you. I don't know if you know this one person, and I feel like we all know this one person where they just like shit just happens to them. Like things like just like life just is just, how do I explain it? Like life is happening for them. And life is happening for all of us. But I mean, like, where things just, I don't know, everything goes right for them, like they win stuff, or everything just always goes their way. And that's really what it's about. It's like when you're in alignment, you feel that too. You experience that too. I've had moments where like I'll wake up and I'll feel so in alignment and I will be so fulfilled, and it could be that I've just done, I don't know, something, I've just worked with, I've like done something within my business that's made me lit up, that, you know, I'll go about my day and things will just like fall into place so naturally and so organically. And like maybe I'll go to a shop and this guy will be just so freaking you know, he'll be so happy, he'll compliment me, he'll, you know, say something that'll light up my day, or whether it'll just be like, you know, I go to a cafe and they'll be like, they have no seats left, but then one just happened to have opened up just as you got here and this seat is for you. Just little stuff like that. It's just being in alignment and things just falling into place. It's like the universe has your back. That's really what it feels like. So are you in a place where, you know, you feel like you're constantly chasing life, you're constantly chasing these things, and you feel like there's like this like distance away from it, there's this like separation? Or do you feel like that life is really, you know, in favorable of you? And when you're in alignment and when you're so in your purpose or fulfilled in what your soul feels, then life really happens for you and things just happen so abundantly, and everything always ends up just working itself out, and there's no stress, there's no anxiety, there's no depression, there's nothing like that. There's none of those emotions. The emotion is joy, is prosperity, it's like just this over excitement of and love, right? It's like when you get into a relationship for the first time, and for the first like 3 to 6 months, it's like you're in that honeymoon stage and you just feel so giddy, and like that's how I can explain that this feeling feels. So ask yourself, like, are you someone that wants to constantly be chasing life or things in life, or would you prefer that, you know, life chases you? So that's what I always like to ask my clients, because I guess when you're out of alignment and you feel lost and you feel stuck and things feel shit, then most of the times that they feel like life is constantly chasing them. And that's why I think it's a really, really good and important question to ask of what you prefer to choose. And another thing that I always like to ask is, do you feel fulfilled? And I guess we've kind of already touched base on this, but it's like, do you really feel fulfilled in what you are doing? And most of the time people, again, say no. And I guess it comes from a space of feeling stuck and feeling like there's no way out of that. And again, there's always a way out. If you're unhappy with your job, or if you're unhappy with your relationship, there is always a solution. There's always a solution to a problem. But we usually close ourselves off to that solution and we get into this like panic mode. And this is where most of us suffer anxiety, is because we get so worked up and we feel like we're stuck and we're trapped, and these emotions bottle up and build and build and build to a point where we feel like we are suffocated. And the thing is that there's always a solution to every single thing. Everything that happens in life, there's always going to be that solution. You've just got to open your awareness and open yourself up. And a way that I like to think of opening or finding out that solution is by asking the question. So if you are unhappy with your job, then ask your question, why am I unhappy? Or what else could I be doing? Or what is it that makes me unhappy? Because the moment you ask that question, you're literally opening your awareness up to other possibilities. Usually we don't ask the question. We don't even ask, we don't explore that option. And if we don't ask, then we don't allow ourselves to even entertain the idea that there could be something better out there for us, because we automatically close off and think that this is the best that it's going to get. But I can tell you right now, from what I have experienced in my life within the past 3 years, as it is only getting better and better and better for me. And the thing with this is that it does feel uncomfortable. It can be scary. There is that element of fear that always comes into play because we're so used to doing what's normal and comfortable for us. But the moment you explore those other options and you get uncomfortable and you get comfortable with getting uncomfortable, then you're evolving because you're opening and expanding yourself to new opportunities and ideas. And it's like up-leveling a version of you every single time. So the old you that was stuck in this job or that was stuck in this toxic relationship that couldn't get out wouldn't be able to explore those options. But in order for you to up-level, or in order for you to create some sort of change in your life, because that's what we're wanting, you're wanting to create change that's more in alignment with you, who you are, then you need to experience some form of feeling uncomfortable and unfamiliar. I can never say that word. Unfamiliarity. So let yourself get to that stage. And when I was experiencing this, I had to get uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable for me because it was so out of the normal. It wasn't something that I was used to doing. And so I had to experience these levels, this feeling of just feeling really, unfamiliar. And it felt uncomfortable for me because my ego, my subconscious mind, and my body was like, I've never experienced this before. What is going on? And so I kind of had to just push through that in order to come out of the other side and up level into that new version of me. So if you're wanting to create happiness for yourself and you're currently unhappy, what is that one thing, or what is it that you need to do that's going to change that, or to start breaking down the same old patterns that you keep experiencing, so that you can step forward. Again, it's opening that door just a little bit. What can you do that's going to help you navigate you through that door and help you up level and learn and create those new experiences? Because you can open the door, right? You can say that I'm so unhappy with my job, I'm going to explore new opportunities, or the first step is opening that door just a little bit and creating that awareness, or opening your awareness to be like, okay, I deserve more. So that's step one. Once you've done that, it's actually doing the second step. And by doing the second step is exploring the opportunities. That's where the uncomfortable feeling is going to step in. That's where you're going to feel uncomfortable, and you're going to have to open up, open your awareness more. And this is where scarcity will come in, a little bit of fear, and that, like I said, uncomfortable feeling is going to come in because you're not used to going through that door and exploring new opportunities. And that's exactly what I experienced. Every time like I found something new that I was exploring, whether it was in my business or health, or when I did a lot of like healing work and I had to sit with my emotions, like it was really uncomfortable and I wasn't used to it. But for me to up level or to get through it was to just deal with it. And so I just literally had to get through it. And once I got through it, you know, I completely up leveled. I could feel myself evolving. I could see myself evolving, and people started to like compliment me and say, "You're glowing. Like you look like a different person." And this was because I was doing the healing. So the healing stuff is quite ugly because I was getting to the root cause of like my emotions and my trauma. And while I was doing that, and it was really uncomfortable, but I actually came out of it feeling a lot a lot more confident, and I was glowing more because, I got to release a lot of these emotions. And so for my business and when I quit my job and I started my business, like I was experiencing a lot of things that made me feel uncomfortable because I wasn't used to it. And I faced a lot of like imposter syndrome, self-doubt, and all these things that I had to work through. And so as I experienced it, I had to just, push through it and work with it. And at the time it was really uncomfortable, but the more I got to work through it, the more I was up leveling like a new version of myself and shedding these old layers. And this is where growth comes, and this is when new opportunities come. And so the more I was up leveling, the greater or the bigger the opportunities became, because I was opening, like I always picture it as like doors opening, or I've said this analogy before. It's like when you're blind or when you can't see properly and you put glasses on, and then all these doors appear. And so that was kind of like the same thing. So, and these doors are the doors to new opportunities. So when I was able to do that, to feel uncomfortable and do that type of work, I was able to open the doors or see more doors and then be able to open them to more opportunities for me. And that's how I was able to, what my experience has been like for the past 2 years. It's just been like opening more doors, getting uncomfortable, facing my fears, dealing with my emotions. But every time I was doing something like that, I was opening a new door every single time to new opportunities. This is why it's like when you start from the start of like acknowledging that you're unhappy and, thinking like there's so much more that you're worthy of and there's so much more that you're capable of. You just don't have any answers yet. Maybe you're just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how. Like, I've got a lot of shit to deal with. But it's like as soon as you start from the start and then you go to that second step where it's like, okay, I'm going to do something that feels really uncomfortable. It's like a snowball effect. It starts like, it just keeps on going, and you get into this like momentum, and you kind of get used to it in a way. Like you get used to it, you don't get used to it, but it's like you get kind of comfortable with feeling uncomfortable, and it kind of, well, for me anyway, it becomes addictive because like I realize that there's so many new opportunities. There's so much that I'm actually capable of that I didn't realize I was capable of. There's so many things that I could be doing that I never thought that I was capable of doing before. And had I not have just started from step one and just, given myself the time of day, then I wouldn't have been here. And so I feel like when you start from step one by acknowledging, and then you go through the steps of starting to feel uncomfortable by doing things that are, not usually what you usually do, and you start to do that type of work, and it could be just as little as doing one thing per day, depending on what it is. You will look back in like 3 months' time and go, holy shit, like I didn't realize the change that has occurred in the past 3 months until looking back at it. And every month, or every month I look back and go, holy shit, I've changed completely. And I did this thing, like last year was when I really started my business. I think it was really when I took it seriously and I hired business coaches, and I was like, okay, I'm going to start recording and all this stuff. And just looking back a year ago and who I was, the type of person that I was with my business and all the stuff that I had faced a year ago, it's like I'm so different. I've really transformed and I've really evolved. And I don't think like I really fully realized that until I actually look back. So I think it's always a really good thing to look back at how far you have come, because sometimes in the moment when we're going through it, it feels like we're not changing at all. But then when you do look back to who you were a month ago, and you'll just be so freaking surprised. And like that's where you can really appreciate your progress. And I think the thing with the people that are wanting change is that they just expect a quick fix and they expect it to happen overnight. And I think when you start to accept that it isn't an overnight thing, but it's actually a long life thing, which is actually, when you think about it, it can sound like, holy fuck, if it's going to take my whole life, then I'm never going to do it. But it's actually really cool, because within like your whole life, you're constantly changing, you're constantly evolving, and you're doing things that you didn't think that you were capable of doing. And it like I said, it becomes addictive. And so when you finally accept that it's actually like a lifelong journey, it's not just a 2-month thing or a 21-day thing, then I feel like you start to appreciate the process more. And that's when you start to learn and love the journey more so. And when people like want to start a business and they just expect it to be like booming within the first, I don't know, couple weeks or months or however long, and I thought the same too with my business, and then it's like it just doesn't work out that way. It takes time. It doesn't just happen just like this. Then you start to appreciate the growth and the transformation that your business goes through. If you're someone that's wanting to start a business, then hopefully that sheds some light, because the transformation that your business goes through, it's actually really cool to see. And I'm so proud of my own transformation and my transformation within my business within the past year, because like it doesn't matter the value of my money, how much money I earn, or the things that I've done. It's more so the success within the growth that I've had within myself, and what I did and who I was with my business at the start to now is like completely different. And that's what makes me enjoy the job, right? Or enjoy the work that I do. And obviously helping people is like the number one reason. And so looking back at the people that I've helped, it's really like nothing else matters to me. And so when you find your purpose, or you find something that's like that, where you can do something and it doesn't take your time away, it doesn't drain your energy, then that's when you're fully in alignment. And I'm so lucky that I've been able to kind of find that, but I had to do some digging to get there. Like, for those who don't know, I had ended a 5-year relationship, and I moved back home, and I reached a really like low point in my life where I felt really lost. And that's when I was able to explore manifestation, and I started doing the healing work that I needed to do. And I'm not saying you need to break up with your partner or anything like that, but I think it's more just opening up your awareness to new opportunities is like where you're going to get the ground running. And that's how you're going to be happier. That's how you're going to reach for more happiness and more fulfilling and abundant life that we all deserve and that we all desire. So I hope that kind of helps in terms of like, if you're feeling stuck and you're feeling unhappy, then I hope my rambling has kind of made things a little bit clearer, and I'm hoping to give you like a kind of like a direction of what you can do next. And I think the first thing is to literally just start by asking yourself, like, do you deserve, are you happy or are you unhappy? And why are you unhappy? And it always starts with just that one point. And then the second point can be, okay, so we're back. My camera died. But I was going to wrap this up anyway. There's only one other thing that I forgot to say. And I think this comes before, or it comes after step one, which is accepting where you are now. And I think it's okay, and I think it's important that we accept where we are now, because if we don't accept, or if we can't be in that like acceptance of, okay, well, I'm not where I want to be, but this isn't the be all end all, that's when you can like go to the next steps, if that makes sense. So I hope that this podcast has opened your awareness a little bit and like given you some motivation to explore other avenues, because again, life is so grand, and like we think that we're so ignorant in thinking that we think we know everything, and we think this is like the be all or end all and like it's black and white. But no, it's absolutely so like it's nothing like that. And when you can open up your awareness and you start to question things and be like, well, maybe my job is that I'm in now is not the be all or end all. Or maybe this relationship, this toxic relationship is, not the only relationship that I'm capable of being in. Maybe there are other guys out there that can treat me the way that I deserve to be treated, which there are. Then you're opening opportunities. You're opening those doors. You're opening those doors, sisters. So it's about just like stripping away your ignorance for a little bit and questioning everything and opening up your awareness and just being like, okay, well, I want to explore more of what life really has to offer, and I'm not going to be closed-minded or closed off to the possibility that, hey, I don't have to work a 9-to-5 job or live in society's standards just because someone years and years and years and years and yonks ago had made that rule up. Like, this is where we're breaking down the rules, where we're breaking that, that stigma. I don't know what you like to call it. It's just breaking from the norm. And I've always been the type of person that just won't accept things for what they are. Like, I always like to keep my mind open, and I always like to question whether that's really how it has to be. And I like to make up my own mind for myself. And that goes with everything. Like if I see something where someone has an opinion, it's like I won't go along with their opinion as my opinion. I will make my own opinion. And the way that you make your own opinion is by being able to experience it for yourself so that you can create your own opinion. Because we all have our own perception of things. So we don't need to go by what other people say. We don't have to go by what other people do. Like, you don't have to work the 9-to-5 job or just settle for a relationship because that's all that's available to you. Like, that's just a crock of shit. So I'm going to stop ranting on now because I've been talking for so long, as I usually do. And let me know if you want me to talk about a specific topic. I always like to ask you guys, because when I get passionate. But I want to talk about what you guys are interested in me talking about, not just what I think I should talk about, because it's not about me, it's about you. And if you're watching this on YouTube, then please hit the subscribe and the like button, or even in podcasts, I think you can do that. I think you can subscribe. I don't know a lot about technology, if I'm honest. And Always feel free to comment or reach out if you have any questions or you want to talk about anything. And as always, I'll see you next time. Namaste. Bye.